हे एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल फीलियर जितेश। मैं आज आप लोगों के लिए पॉलिटी के लेक्चर्स बहुत ही एक फेमस कोचिंग के अपलोड कर रहा हूँ। प्लीज़ कोई स्ट्राइक कोई कंप्लेन मत कीजिएगा, ये सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए हैं जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं। मैं पहले ही माफ़ी मांग रहा हूँ, बाद में आप लोग ये मत कहिएगा कि आप चोरी कर रहे हो, ऐसा कर रहे हो, वैसा करो। देखिए, मेरे को भी कहीं से मिले तो मुझे लगा कि उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए डाल दिए जाएँ, जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। मैं भी उनमें से ही हूँ एक। मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग इसका भरपूर इस्तेमाल करें, अच्छे से पढ़ें। दीज आर दी बेस्ट लेक्चर्स एंड मैं भी इससे पढ़ रहा हूँ, आप लोग भी इससे पढ़ो। एंड कोशिश करूँगा जल्द से जल्द सारे लेक्चर्स डाल दूँ। तो प्लीज़ अच्छे से पढ़िए। अब सही समय है सही से तैयारी करने का, तो अच्छे से तैयारी करिए। चलिए, आई होप यू विल लव दी लेक्चर्स। प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल।
सर पन्ने नहीं पलटने हैं। When I come in the class, just be aware what we did in the previous class. Okay, that will help me also and you also. ठीक है? How many members were there in the Constituent Assembly? How much? 389. How many people actually signed the official copy of the Constituent Assembly? 284. Pakka? Which date was it signed? 26th November. हाँ जी. Of the Constitution. अच्छा आप बताओ. You tell me one thing. Any one example where center and state together can amend the Constitution, and for that also at least 50% of the states should have agreed to the amendment. Any one example? ये डराने के लिए नहीं है, ये किसके लिए है? जगाने के लिए. ओके, बोलो. What are these articles? Presidential election. Excellent. If you want to make a change in these two articles, means if you want to change the way president is elected in this country, first center legislature will pass the resolution, then it will be sent to different states, and then minimum 50%, at least 50% states should agree to that. If 50% or more than that states agree to this amendment and they also pass it separately, then we will amend this particular provision. Got this point? उसको छोड़ो, अभी तुम यहाँ फोकस करो. 54, 55. Then next. My dear, without president signing any provision bill, it will not become an act. President के पास तो जाएगा ही जाएगा. That's a different thing, right? 54, 55. What else? Make this correction. It is not 163. It is 162. Last time I dictated. Sorry. Yeah. Last time I said 73, 163. No, that is 162. उसको change कर लो. 162 कर लो. Means if you want to change the executive powers of union or executive powers of state, then center will have to pass the change first, then that bill will go to different states, and if minimum 50, at least 50% states pass that, then only it will be accepted as a change, otherwise not. If 50% states agree, then only it will be done. Got this point, sir? ये clear है ना आपको? And what is the meaning of executive power? Yes? I'll explain that when I take up president, but then you should have cursory idea, no? When I am using the word executive power, इसका मतलब क्या है? हाँ जी, what is the meaning of executive power? बोलो. Power to? Yes. See, laws have been made, कानून तो बन गए. Who made the law? Legislature. Now it will have no sense if you just make the law and you do not implement it. So law is made by legislature and you implement that through executive. This implementation, आप एक बात सुनो. I have made a law that they should be disciplined in the class. I am legislature. She is executive. Now she will implement this thing. Okay, how will you implement discipline in the class? She might install some cameras here. Okay, she might also hire one or two, यहाँ पे bouncer खड़े कर देंगे to maintain the discipline. And she will do this. She will buy a camera or she will employ some people to maintain discipline here. She will do this because of her executive powers. Means she is doing this to complete her executive functions. Got the point or not? Maintain discipline was a law. Now how to maintain the discipline will be decided by her within the ambit of law. इसे कहते हैं executive powers, right? Third area where 241. What is 241, sir? 241. 241. High Court for Union Territories. Are Union Territories actually having high courts? No. Yes, bolo, yes. Delhi is having or not? Yes. High courts are there in Union Territories also. Delhi is the example. Others can also have. What I mean to say is that if you want to bring a change in this Article 241, which provides for High Court in the Union Territories, अगर आपको उसमें कोई change लाना है, then that change will first be approved by whom? Parliament, Union Parliament. Then that change will be sent to different states, 29 states. If only at least 50% states agree to the change, then only that change will be brought, otherwise not. Now, when I am discussing these provisions, am I pointing that India is a federal or unitary system? Federal. Because you see, in all these things, union and states together are making the change. Nothing better example of being a federal polity than this. By you are making an arrangement where if you have to have even a single change, center will have to agree and then states will also have to agree. Center alone cannot bring these changes. So ये federal ही तो हुआ ना? Got the point or not? Now see, another area in which center and state together will make the change, otherwise it will not be brought. This is nothing new. This is only the recollection of what we did in the previous class. ये कुछ नया नहीं है, मैं करा चुका हूँ. Okay, sir. Next area in which if change is to be brought, center and state मिलके change लाएंगे उसको. Center alone cannot bring the change. Chapter 4 of Part 5 of the Constitution. ठीक है? What is Part 5 of the Constitution? By Constitution is divided into number of parts. Part number 5 means it is talking about union legislature, union executive, judiciary, this and that, right? What is chapter 4 of part 5? Chapter 4 is judiciary. And when you are talking about judiciary at union level, means you are talking about Supreme Court. ये सब करा चुका हूँ मैं. This is all we have already seen. For the people who are not able to recollect, please start reading the things again at home. ये सिर्फ एक ट्रेलर था कि if you come without preparation, this can happen. ठीक है सर? Lag नहीं होना है हमको. After discussing that where India is federal polity or how India is federal polity, I shifted my debate. First I started proving that India is federal. ये prove किया ना मैंने आपको. Then I also proved that India polity is quite different from other federal system. We are not only federal, we become unitary also number of times. Federal means both together will make the change. Unitary means the will of union will prevail over states. They like it or not, change can be brought by union alone. Union खुद ही change ला सकता है कुछ चीजों में. सर याद आ रहा है? पिछले जन्म में we discussed that. बोलो. One example. Why we said only Article 3, not Article 2? For the people who know what is Article 2. Yes. By part 2 means, I'll discuss these things separately, but it's only a preview. Part 2 means that we are admitting a new state into India. Getting me or not? For example, tomorrow we attack China. We captured Beijing. We'll incorporate Beijing in India. उसको जोड़ लेंगे इंडिया में सर. Okay. Now when we are doing so, we also have to pass a law or not? We have to mention that in the constitution that we have brought a new state in the Indian Union. That is done by the Union Parliament, of course, under Article 2. Getting me? वो तो obvious है. There is no question. I mean, why should we involve state in these things? We have taken a new territory and we are adding that in the Indian Union. Now that mention can be done by Union alone. ये काम तो Union खुद कर ही सकता है for obvious reasons. Right or wrong? Why I said only Article 3 makes India a union, unitary, is that what is Article 3, sir? आप last class में थे ना? What is Article 3, sir? Article 3 means changing the name, area, boundary of an existing state in India. For example, I gave you the example also. Karnataka, Maharashtra, Belgaum was in between. Okay, means if the union government wants to change the name of this state, can union government do it on its own? Yes. Even if state government is opposed to this change, union can bring this change under the powers given to it under which article? Article 3 empowers the parliament, union parliament, that if you want to change the name, area, boundary of any state, you are free to do that, even if that state opposes it. Got this point? What better example of being a unitary setup than this? Means because of Article 3, union is prevailing over state. ये example हो गया unitary का. One more example to prove that India is a unitary setup. Any examples? Whatever can come to your mind. Emergency. National emergency. Which article? 352. What is 352, sir? National emergency. If national emergency is there, then union will take charge, can take charge of any state, means it can make law for the state, it can even execute the law, removing or sidelining the machinery of that particular state. Getting me or not? For example, policing is a state function. If there is a national emergency, in that case, center can keep aside the police of that particular state and can send its own machinery, paramilitary forces to maintain law and order, even if that state is not agreeing to that. Means when there is a national emergency, the will of union will prevail over each and every state if union wants. किसी भी state को अपने हिसाब से वो चला सकता है during national emergency. Any other example to prove that India is unitary? Article 356. What is 356? President rule, or also called as state emergency. When state emergency is there, when president rule is imposed in a state, जैसे कि recently Uttarakhand, Arunachal, when president rule is imposed, in that case center can make law for that particular state. Okay, getting me or not? Now when I am making law for yourself, am I not prevailing over you? This is example of being unitary. But what is the meaning of unitary? Unitary means union government will prevail over the states. Getting this point, sir? Right now. Where did we stop? Article 3, na? Now the next point by which I prove that we have a unitary setup also. First point was Article 352. Second was Article 3. Third point by which I will prove that India is more of a unitary setup और यूनियन गवर्नमेंट इज पावरफुल vis-a-vis स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. तीसरा एग्जांपल है इसका ये. Schedule 7. What is Schedule 7? Very good. Distribution of legislative powers between union and the state. List 1, list 2, list 3. All these are mentioned in Schedule 7. List 1, how many subjects? 100. List 2, 61. List 3, 52. Excellent. Write down. Schedule 7. Third point, Schedule 7. अभी हम क्या प्रूव करेंगे? That India is unitary. Schedule 7 of the Constitution distributes the powers between एकता का पूरा इफेक्ट है ये. Schedule 7 of the Constitution distributes the powers between center and states. Keep reading every line. Nobody can beat you if you are attentive in the class. Nobody. Distributes the power between center and the states. However, this distribution is mostly in the favor of. ये किसके फेवर में? Whose favor? Union government. Excellent. Is mostly in the favor of union government. This distribution of power is mostly in the favor of union government. Means we gave more powers to union government regarding law making. Schedule 7 is only regarding law. Okay. For example, how will you prove this point, sir? Simple. By union list means the list on which central can make the law has how many subjects? 100. And the areas in which state can make the law are 61 only. Means you are giving more areas to center to make laws, and you are thus making center powerful. Write down. First, for example, the union list is the largest and also carries number wise B and quality wise also, and carries the most important issues, or subjects of legislation. For example, railways, defense, external affairs, communication. Very good. Next point. Is there any other point also by which you can tell me that this Schedule 7 is in the favor of center? Means in the area of law making, center has upper hand. How will you prove that with another point, sir? Hanji? Residuary powers are with whom? Center. Any other reason also? Concurrent list. By what is concurrent list? Concurrent list is an area of law making where states can make the law. However, if tomorrow center makes a law in this area, that law will prevail over the state law. Getting me now? Means in area of concurrent legislation, we have given upper hand to whom? Center. Right now. इसी में next point, next example, regarding the concurrent list, the parliament's claim is superior and prior. पहले वेटेज उसको देंगे. Next, state list और list 2 बोलते हैं उसको, contains the subjects of local importance. Local importance means their ramification is localized. Of local importance, over which, please read the line, it has a significance, over which are states having exclusive jurisdiction over these areas? Think and then give an answer. Yes. By state list, you know, are states having exclusive jurisdiction over these areas? You are right, but then you are wrong also. Hamun. Pith and substance and all. Hmm. Hmm. Nee, but when it will come in the prelims, what will you write? Very good. No. What I mean to say is that even in the state list, sometimes, not always, center can intervene and make the law. Got the point? By agriculture, sir, आप बताओ, agriculture state list or union list or concurrent list? State list. Can center make law in this area? Generally not, but yes also in specific situation. कभी कभी बना सकता है. But then what is that कभी कभी? What are the conditions? This is only the beginning, so I'm repeating the things again and again and again. Okay, but slowly, you have to catch with this frequency. How many in residuary list? 51. No, residuary. Nothing prefixed. Okay. Now see, I said, let me summarize what is going on right now. In the list number 1, जिसको union list बोलते हैं, there are 100 subjects. In these areas, 100 areas, only and only union government can make laws. ये आपको clear है? And number wise also this list is big. Means who is having an edge? Union. Means we are unitary. Second point, state list, 61 areas. In these areas only state should make law. However, in exceptional situations, even in these areas, even in list 2, who can make law? Union. Exceptional situations, not generally. Right? Means we are again giving weightage to whom? Union. Means we are more of unitary. ठीक है ना? Now my next question will be, what are those areas and when center can make law even in this area? State list में जाकर भी law बना सकता है center. कब? What are the articles or what are the situations or what are the conditions under which union government can make law even in the state list? ये question है मेरा. बहुत बढ़िया सर. When this discussion will end, when I'll end the topic, you will yourself see that I have covered 4 different topics within one topic. Article 249. बोलो सर, repeat this again. Slowly, थोड़ा धीरे बोलना. For the state, yeah, state subject. State subject, very good. See, agriculture is part of state subject. Okay. Every state is making law on agriculture. Now the problem is that since every state is making law on agriculture, there is a disparity in the agriculture performance of one state vis-a-vis other. एक state अच्छा कर रहा है, दूसरा अच्छा नहीं कर रहा है, even if they have resources, because the laws are not good. Or it is also happening that you are getting access to very cheap vegetables in one state and it is not so in other state, because according to the law of the state, some state levy more fees. भाई ये जो आजादपुर मंडी है, they levy fees or not when farmers come and they sell their product to the mandi, and from their wholesale market, वहां से तो निकलता है. Now regarding this wholesale market, states are making their own laws. Now center is saying that your laws are faulty, please change them. You modify these laws, because as of now the current laws, these markets are not performing well and the price is being paid by people. These essential commodities like vegetable, they are they are having their prices risen. Understood or not? So center बोल रहा है, let's end up this system where every state is making its own law regarding these area agriculture products, and let's have a common agriculture code. National agriculture market बनाते हैं, a common agriculture market across India, which will be tackled by the union law. Union उसको अपने हिसाब से चलाएगा. But then states are saying no, agriculture market is in our purview. हम इसको देखेंगे because it is part of state list. You cannot make law in this area. Agreed? Now tomorrow Rajya Sabha will understand this, that since we do not have a common national agriculture market, the prices of these essential commodities like vegetables and fruits, they are fluctuating. In one state it is very cheap, other state it is very costly. So एक national, if we have a national agriculture market, a common agriculture market across India, where common rules will apply across states, this will be better for the people. They will get best products in minimum prices. ठीक है? These nitty-gritties you will understand when you take up economics. But then as of now, you just understand what I am talking. National agriculture market के बारे में जितना समझ में आ रहा है, you understand this. I am just giving an example. Polity में लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. NAM and all these things. Center wants to make a law so that across India, one thing can be regulated in the interest of people, because right now every state is making its own law in this area, and therefore there is a disparity. Some people are benefiting in some states, other people in different states are losing. कहीं सब्जी महंगी, कहीं सस्ती. सब्जी हर जगह बराबर की क्या होनी चाहिए? महंगी. Across India, vegetables should be equally priced. Okay. For that we need to have a common national agriculture market, but center cannot do so because it is part of state. So what in this case Rajya Sabha will step into? Rajya Sabha इसके अंदर आ जाएगा. Right or wrong? See. Under Article 249, Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house of Union Parliament, it will tell the Parliament, the Union Legislature, that you please make the law in this area, which generally is part of state subject, but in the better interest of the country, you make the law. Because when you will make the law, you will make an impartial law which will apply equally well across India, and everybody will benefit, whether you are living in North India, South India, East India or West India. सबको फायदा होगा. Okay, means in the national interest, sometimes Rajya Sabha can pass a law under Article 249 which authorizes the Parliament to make the law in an area which was otherwise an area falling in the state list. And states will have to abide by that law. States cannot say at that point of time, no, it was a state list, part of state list, how can you make the law in that area? Sir, understood or not? समझ गए ना? Write down this. हाँ जी. What? PM जो स्कीम लॉन्च करता है, then? See, that depends. For example, if you say Bima Fasal Yojana, now let me ask you, is it part of agriculture or is it part of insurance? Agriculture insurance? ये क्या चीज है? As she said, pith and substance. It's a kind of an approach whereby we see that particular area of law making, is it part of list 1 or list 2? ये वहां से हम देखते हैं. For example, we'll analyze this particular law, that the substance of this law, the core of this law is actually relating to insurance or is it relating to agriculture, or is it relating to health, or is it relating to taxation? Getting me or not? And then only we decide that this will be part of list 1, 2 or concurrent list. Understood? Means it requires an analysis. Black and white, yes or no, you cannot say that this is part of list 1, 2, 3, because some areas actually they cross the boundaries. They appear to be part of insurance also, health also, defense also. ठीक है ना? For example, one rank, one pension scheme. Is it part of defense or is it part of social welfare? भाई both नहीं बोल सकते ना, एक को तो बोलना पड़ेगा. So that we can decide whether it is falling in the list 1, 2 or 3. We have to decide or not. Now in doing that, because sometimes you have a kind of law which is a mixture of different areas. Some areas might fall in list 1, some areas might fall in list 2. So to do that, we have to have a proper analysis in which we see what is the crux or the core of this particular area of lawmaking, and we will put that accordingly in that particular list. Got the point, sir? Right now. For example, what was the last line? Local importance over which states do not have exclusive jurisdiction. Means in these areas states may not be exclusively allowed to make law. Center can also enter in that area, but not generally, exclusively, in special situations. For example, under the following 5 conditions, for example, under the following 5 situations or conditions, what can happen? Sir, under the following 5 conditions, what can happen? Union intervene कर सकता है, or union can make law in the areas which were otherwise part of state list. Excellent, sir. Write down. Under following 5 extraordinary situations, the parliament can also, under the following 5 extraordinary situations, the parliament can also legislate over the state's subject. 5 cases. First, under Article 249, if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting, comma, that it is in the nation's interest, that it is in the utmost national interest, लिख लो, that it is in the utmost national interest that Parliament legislates over the state's subject. मतलब list 2. In that case, Parliament assumes, means if the resolution is passed, in that case Parliament assumes legislative jurisdiction. Legislative jurisdiction means the, क्या मतलब है sir? What is the meaning of legislative jurisdiction? Jurisdiction means power and legislative means law, power to make law. Parliament assumes legislative jurisdiction over specified, not all, specified, जिसका mention होगा, over the specified state's subject. Okay, Article 249 was the first area when center can make law even in the state list. What is the other area in which center can make law even in the subject of the states? 250, sir. Write down. During national emergency, the parliament assumes, yes, the parliament assumes concurrent legislative jurisdiction, assumes concurrent legislative jurisdiction over the subjects under the states list. Got the point? Clearly? By actually, in the state list, state should make the law. But suppose national emergency is there, then in that case, center can also take that area in its own hand. Right? Next. Article 252. Article 252. No, sir. This is a further clarification of that. 352 is general national emergency. This is the clarification of that. Okay, right now. 252. Anyone, what is 252? What is Article 252? Two state or more than two also? See, this is the way to... Yeah, sure. This is the way to remember it. 252 means, अब इसकी language से आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. Write down the language. Under Article 252, if two or more than two states, of course state legislature, if two or more than two state legislatures pass a resolution authorizing the parliament, keep reading what you're writing, authorizing the parliament to legislate over the state's subject, then parliament assumes jurisdiction over those subjects law and order is a state subject or union subject? State subject. Now suppose it can happen, I am saying so, okay, it can happen, though the chances are very less. It can happen that or let's take this Naxal affected areas. These three states separately, they have their legislature or not? But you know that what are the two houses of the state legislature? Upper and lower to hai. What is the name? Let me tell you that also, because many people might not be knowing. I'm telling you this because once in one batch I finished the course, pura course ho gaya, and one fine day one person came to me and told me, sir, what is the difference between MP and MLA? Okay, isliye I'm telling you this. union legislature, which is called as parliament. Two houses, upper house, lower house is Lok, also known as popular house. Okay, now see, the people who are coming to this at this level and becoming the part of the parliament, whether you are a member of Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, they will be called as MPs. Okay, similarly, the states should also have two houses, but then this is not the case always. Okay, most of the state legislatures, they are having only one house. However, there are how many states which are having two houses? 7. Which is the latest? Telangana. Andhra is having two houses or one houses? Two. Kashmir having two houses or one houses? Two. Maharashtra one house or two house? Two. See, some states, focus here, some states have only one house, which is called as Legislative Assembly. And the people who are getting into this assembly through elections are called as member of Legislative Assembly. However, there are 7 states where you find not one house but two houses, upper house and lower house, the way it is at union. इसकी copy मारी हुई है. Okay, for example, let's take Maharashtra. Upper house is called as Legislative Council, lower house is called as Legislative Assembly. Okay, now in this case also, if you are a member of Legislative Assembly, you will be called as MLA, because the full form is member of Legislative Assembly. Okay, and if you are a member of the upper house in that state, see why I am discussing, this is in news again and again and again. This is being debated that we should abolish the system of upper house, because many of the states, they give, if for example he lost his elections as an MLA and we are having two houses, I will accommodate him in the Legislative Council, because here popular elections are not conducted. Log directly election nahi karte hain. Okay, so somehow I am the CM, I will be in a position to accommodate him in the upper house. So now this debate in newspaper mein hai news. This is a constant news. So I am discussing this thing. Okay, so if you are a member of the lower house in that state, you will be called as MLA, member of Legislative Assembly. But if you are member of upper house, you will be called as MLC, member of Legislative Council. Not every state is having two houses, only 7. Okay? Is it clear? Now see this case. This was being explained that under Article 252, focus here, under Article 252, it can happen that 2 states or 3 states, 1, 2, 3, these 3 states, they separately pass a resolution that in the area of law and order or in the area of land, it is better that center makes the law, because if it is done, it will help all of us equally. Because when we are making law in this area separately, we are actually contradicting each other's interest. ऐसा हो सकता है. I may make a law for law and order which might hurt the interest of the neighboring state, and vice versa. ऐसा हो सकता है. So, and it is creating conflict also among all these 3 states. So these 3 states will agree that all of us will separately pass a resolution that we allow union government, union parliament or union legislature to make law for us in this area. And once this law is made by the parliament for these states, 2 state, 3 state or 4 state, jitne bhi agree karte hain, this law will remain in operation till what time? Till the time states say that please repeal it or what? Not forever. This law will be in operation till the time parliament continues with it. Okay, means to agree on this thing that parliament should make law in this area, states will initiate the process But to end the law, Parliament will have to take the initiative. तब स्टेट नहीं बोलेंगे सर बस बहुत हो गया, now we make this law on our own, sir. No. Once you have given the permission to the Parliament, Parliament will decide when it should give it back to the states. Write down. हाँ जी सर, पूरे इंडिया में. Write down. Under Article 252, if two or more states pass a resolution authorizing the Parliament to legislate over the state subject, then Parliament assumes jurisdiction of that state subject till the time the same law is what? ये कब तक पावर में रहेगा लॉ? Exactly. Till the time the same law is repealed by Parliament itself. This can become a question. यही तो twist है पॉलिटी में. Till the time the same law is repealed. Only for 2 states, or if 3 states are saying, then that will apply only on these 3 states. पूरे ऐसा नहीं है. तुमने ये पूछा ना, लैंग्वेज से ऐसा नहीं लगा था. Any state out of 29 states can go for this facility, but this law will apply only on the states which are asking for it. You got the point or not? जो स्टेट बोलेगा हमारे लिए लॉ बनाओ, this will apply only on them, not on others. Right now. Next, Article 253. Is it becoming heavy? भारी हो रहा है थोड़ा सा. It is not heavy at all if you come prepared little bit. थोड़ा सा पढ़ के आओ, it will be very easy for you. But then of course this part is little bit ticklish also. उसमें कोई doubt भी नहीं है. But then see, you are given the timetable in advance so that you can come prepared for the class. The motto of giving you timetable is you get the timetable or not. So you come prepared, whether this is polity or this is geography or this is whatever. थोड़ा पढ़ के आओ, be attentive here and revise. ये तो होगा ही. Now gone are the days of school and college when you were sitting and they were coming and explaining the things. Now things will also be a little bit complicated and the course will be big. So you have to take the initiative. The people who become aware of this earlier, they will be free earlier. समझ रहे हो? Under Article 253, next is Article 253. What is going on right now? अभी क्या डिस्कशन चल रहा है? What are we discussing right now? अभी क्या चल रहा है? बोलो. Constitution is unitary. Very good. But अभी क्या चल रहा है? What are we discussing right now? Very good. Right now we are discussing that in what situations center can make laws for the states also, right? And when this is happening, we are also proving that India is unitary. दोनों चीज साथ चल रही हैं. Right now, under Article 253. What is Article 253? Anyone? Sir.
Agreement between two countries on which the parliament can make on any subject. Agreement between two international countries are taking place. On those subjects, parliament can make the laws, even if that subject is of their respect.
A river is flowing from West Bengal to Bangladesh. Now we wanted to have an agreement with Bangladesh where we agree that now on this river you will have a more claim or higher claim on the water of this river. Getting me or not? We want to have an agreement with Bangladesh that from now on you will have more share of water of this river. आपको ज़्यादा पानी मिलेगा इस river का. We want to have this kind of agreement, but then West Bengal is not saying or is not agreeing to this agreement. West Bengal is saying, how can you take away my share of law making? Means river water, state subject. How can you give it to Bangladesh without our consent? We can do so under Article 253. We means Union Parliament, legislature. Parliament can make a law. Listen very carefully. Parliament can make a law in state subject, even against the wishes of the state, to give effect to a international treaty. Suppose we have entered into a treaty with some other country, and to do so we have to make adjustments in an area which falls in the area of state list. Then that can be done by the parliament, even if states are not agreeing to that. Understood or not? Bangladesh case. Okay, now she was not ready, Mamata Banerjee, that I will not participate. Union government could have gone ahead even when she was resisting it, because under Article 253, Union Parliament had this kind of facility, had this kind of power, that to give effect to an international treaty with other country, we can make the law in the state list even when the states do not agree to that. State mana kare to bhi hum law bana sakte hain, because the purpose is to give effect to international treaty. Under which article this is given, sir? Understood? Right. Under Article 253, Parliament can pass a law on state's subject, any subject, 61 में से कोई भी हो सकता है, with or without the consent of the states, for the implementation of international treaties. Next point, under Article 356, under Article 356, no way. ठीक है? 356. What is 356, sir? State emergency, also called as president rule. Okay. Now suppose Union Parliament, sir, आप बताओ, Union Parliament has put state emergency in Haryana. Now in that case, will Haryana government exist or go? Will the Haryana legislature exist or go? See the wordings. I am actually telling you an intricate part. Two things are there. President rule has been imposed. लग गया. President rule imposed in Haryana. Today the president rule imposed. By evening, which of these two bodies will be found or not found? Found कौन सा? Not found, exit. Is it right? What is the meaning of executive? हरियाणा executive का मतलब क्या है? Council of Ministers. Very good. Executive means Council of Ministers. This I explained in the previous class in detail. अब उसको repeat करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है? President rule imposed. Let me tell you, this will go automatically. This is not removed automatically. Legislature is a bigger thing than executive. You know this or not? Yes. Legislature is dissolved separately by the union government, not by automatic imposition of the president rule. Remember this thing. ठीक है ना? But now it generally happens that once you impose the president rule, generally this also is dissolved. इसको भी वो dissolve कर देते हैं. Okay. Actually, it was the Sarkaria Commission which said that please do not dissolve the legislature also if you impose the president rule. Because if tomorrow, what is the purpose of not dissolving the legislature once we impose the president rule? Exactly. Excellent. बहुत बढ़िया. Understood the point? I said when we imposed president rule in Haryana, we removed the executive. वो तो automatically गई. But we did not dissolve the legislature of Haryana. What could be the reason? हाँ जी बोलो. सोच के बोलो. Very easy answer. अभी दिया भी है इन्होंने. बोलो. सर बताओ. Why this? यही तो thinking चाहिए. This kind of thinking is required in prelims. I know you will be finding problem in article 252 क्या है, 352 क्या है, but then this will automatically come. What will come with your exercise is this logic. She correctly said, if we remove this legislature, we means government. If the government at the union level, it dissolves the legislature. First of all, they have removed the body which was elected by whom? People. ये भी गलत है. This is undemocratic or not? By people have brought them to power. Who are you to remove them from power? Getting me or not? Now suppose government imposed president rule in Haryana and it was found by the Supreme Court that this imposition of president rule in Haryana was nullified. ये गलत था and it was done with wrong intentions to harass the Haryana government. कोई reason नहीं था ऐसा करने का. In Bihar this was done. Bihar government was suspended and president rule got imposed in Bihar and the word used was failure of constitutional machinery. But on what grounds? कोई reason नहीं था वहाँ president rule लगाने का. Same is, I take an example where center imposes president rule in Haryana and actually there is no reason to impose president rule. But चलो लगा दिया. Then Haryana, somebody from Haryana, they might actually make an appeal in Supreme Court that sir, this imposition of president rule in Haryana is wrong. There was no reason to impose president rule in Haryana. Everything is fine. सब आराम से दूध और दही पी रहे. जरूरत क्या थी यहाँ पे लगाने की president rule? Supreme Court might find actually yes, there was no reason to impose president rule in Haryana. The situation is normal. There is no breakdown of constitutional machinery. Supreme Court might actually nullify the imposition of president rule in Haryana. वो बोलेगा ये गलत लगाया आपने. Then in that case, when president rule is found to be wrongly imposed in Haryana, don't you require a government now? Now will you go for elections again? That will be very cumbersome, costly also, and it will erode your faith in democracy also. So what we do, we try to preserve this body, through which we can anytime pull out executive. भाई executive तो इसी से बना है ना. If legislature remains, executive can be formed at any point of time. But then if you remove legislature itself, then there is no scope of reviving that government, even if tomorrow Supreme Court declares that the president rule was imposed on wrong grounds. Understood or not? Right now. हाँ जी सर. हाँ दोनों सर दोनों. Assembly as well as that. Provided it should be there. Write down. When president rule is imposed, the state legislative assembly is dissolved and parliament may assume the jurisdiction of lawmaking for that very state. That very state means for that state only. Legislative jurisdiction for that very state. For that very state. Okay. So till now we were discussing. Let me summarize. एक बार मैं आपको summarize करा देता हूँ. Then I'll move forward. Let me tell you, there is nothing difficult in this. कुछ इसमें मुश्किल नहीं है. It's a beginning, so you might find little bit your orientation has to be corrected. After 3-4 classes, this will be like children's play. कोई problem नहीं आएगी इसके अंदर. Be alert in the class. That's all. See, till now I was discussing What I was discussing till now? अभी क्या चल रहा था ये? बोलो सर, क्या चल रहा था अभी तक? I was discussing in what 5 situations center, legislature or parliament can make law over the state list. यही आपने अभी लिखा है सारा till now. Okay. Now the next point I'll tell you again, how is union having an upper hand or an edge over states. अब उसको continue करते हैं आगे. Right now. Under Article 248, what is Article 248? Residuary powers. Article 248 है residuary powers. Residuary power lies with whom? Union. Very good. Write down. Under Article 248, residuary power of law making belongs to Parliament. I need not explain this. It was done in the previous class. Under Article 155, next point to prove that India is unitary. Okay, यही prove कर रहे हैं हम that India is unitary also. Okay. Article 155 also proves that India is unitary. What is Article 155? What? Excellent, बहुत बढ़िया, सही है. Governor in a state is appointed by whom? President appoint करता है ना, of course on the aid and advice of government only. COM के कहने पे ही करता है, but it is done by president. Okay, now see. Just enjoy. Do not strain your brain. Yesterday there was an article. People are suggesting, let's abolish the post of governor itself. ये गवर्नर का ऑफिस ही खत्म करो. This is not a red beacon. This is the office of this governor is appointed by president. अपॉइंटमेंट तो प्रेसिडेंट करेगा, बट ऑन हुज रिकमेंडेशन? CUM के कहने पे. ओके, CUM will tell the president, sir, please make this particular person sit on the throne of governor, and then president will put that person, appoint that person on the post of governor. Okay, means somehow this person, don't you think that he is actually somebody who is in the good books of the government? भाई तभी तो उनको बिठाया. For example, previous police commissioner or retired army chief, किरण बेदी और भी हैं, they are made governor. Getting me or not? इनको गवर्नर बना देते हैं. And this fellow is having so much powers that he can actually influence the working of the state government, whether legislature or executive, to a large extent. In fact, he single-handedly can bring down the whole government. Right or wrong? समझो इस बात को. This governor is so powerful for the state that if he comes to misuse his office, he can bring down the whole government single-handedly. How? कैसे? On every 15 days, he writes a report to the center. The governor writes a report to the center every 15 days regarding the condition of the state administration. Okay. Now he might give a report to the center government that the constitutional machinery in the state is failing. Getting me? ये लिख के भेज देगा. And on that report, on the basis of that report, union government can impose president rule in this particular state. And once president rule is imposed, the state government actually comes to a standstill, and the state administration is taken in by whom? Union government. बाद में आप challenge करते रहो that governor sent a wrong report, sir, everything was fine. But at least till the time the verdict will come from Supreme Court, this state machinery will come to a halt or not? This actually happened in Arunachal, Uttarakhand, previously in Bihar. So the post of governor is very critical to harass a state. Through governor, center can very well harass the state. And not only this, there are a number of other provisions. For example, governor can reserve a bill. Isko abhi chhod do. When I discuss governor, I'll take that. Anyways, you understand the point or not? Governor is somebody who can act as an agent of center in the state, and he can harass the state on the instructions given by center. Means through governor, center can influence whom? So ये unitary नहीं हुआ? Unitary. Right. Under Article 155, governor of a state is appointed by the president, who holds the office. Who holds the office. Till what time governor will hold the office? Pleasure of president. जब तक president साहब खुश हैं वो office में हैं अपने. Pleasure of president. Okay. I'll explain what is the meaning of pleasure of president when I come to president and governor. ठीक है sir? Write down. And he holds the office during the pleasure of the president, which means he can be influenced by the union government. You can write down in brackets COM. Union government here means COM, because only on the recommendation of COM president will take these decisions. Okay. What was it? Can be influenced by the union government even to harass a state. This point clear or not? Next point, where I again prove that India is unitary. Agla point. What are these two articles? Combined, you can read them in combined, no problem. Right down. Under Article 256 and 257, keep reading what you are writing, very critical for you only. Under Article 256 and 257, what is it? Anyone? Control of union over state through how? Or through what means? Of course, we are discussing unitary system only. Means through these articles, center can influence the state. By in articles से center state को influence कर सकता है. But what are these two articles? इनका gist क्या है? Write down. Under Article 256 and 257, I am reading them in combined form. The center can issue. Center can issue administrative directions. Administrative directions means executive directions. Center can issue administrative directions to states, indicating the manner in which railway properties and other means of communication. What are the other means of communication apart from railway properties? highways, for example. Okay, yes, bridges, highways, or other means of communication shall be maintained. These directions are binding on the state or states, and if ignored, अगर उन्होंने इग्नोर किया तो center can dismiss, and if ignored, center can dismiss the state government under dismiss the state government under which article? बहुत बढ़िया, under article 365. देखो, railways is falling in the ambit of union or state? Bolo. Union, yeah. Okay. Now let's take the example. For example, this railway line is passing through these three states. Which are these three states? Karnataka and Kerala. बहुत बढ़िया. Passing through these three states. Railway is the property of actually center, right? However, because of some law and order problem, this particular railway line which is passing through Karnataka is getting threatened again and again. Okay, in fact, some element, they are threatening this railway line, and the state government knows this, but they are not taking adequate steps to prevent them. And these people in Karnataka, they are damaging the railway's property. Okay, and center is giving them direction that, see, you should maintain proper check and vigil in this particular stretch of railway line. You should maintain the integrity of this railway line, because people who can be easily controlled are actually threatening the railway line. Sometimes they come and they break the railway line. Sometimes they do some other thing. They commit theft, chori karte hain. But Karnataka government, maybe because it is ruled by opposition party, they are ignoring the directions. Understood? And these these men, they are continuing to threat the railway line. Now, tired of giving them directions, center uses its power under Article 365, and then it can dismiss this Karnataka government, because Karnataka government refused to obey the directions given by center regarding maintenance of this railway line passing through Karnataka. समझ में आया आपको? And the same applies on highways also. It can mean president rule completely. ठीक है sir? Because it was not in a position to implement the executive directions given by center regarding this maintenance of railways and other means of communication. वो ignore कर रहा था. This is required or not in a country like India? Very much. Why this is a very important article for a country like India? What is so special in a country like India that we need these kind of articles? एक word बताओ, what is so special in India that we need these kind of provisions in place? और दो चीज बोल दो. Why actually you understood this provision or not? Why actually we require these kind of provisions where if states ignore the directions given by center regarding maintenance of railway property and means of communication, the state government should be removed by the center. Why we need these kind of provisions? It is true. This question can come in mains, and then you should keep, यही तो divergent thinking है. Mains is all how you think and how divergently you can think. First, you should have said, we have a multi-party democracy. Okay. some party is ruling at the center, some different party or antagonistic party is ruling Karnataka. They have an ego clash. Now just to harass center, cannot this Karnataka government ignore the warnings given by center? Railway को नुकसान होता है होने दो, we will ignore the warnings given by center. Can it not happen? It is happening because opposition parties are ruling these two particular entities. Had this been one party nation like China, this would not have occurred. Everywhere you find Communist Party of China ruling, whether center and the states. Second, other thing also, we have a kind of federal polity. Federal polity means, had this state been just an implementing arm of the center, like unitary system in England, this problem would not have emerged, because there in England, the state's government will not have much powers also. They will just implement. उनका तो role ही है कि उनको implement करना है. When we have given this liberty to the states that you come at par with the center, you be free, you have some powers, should not we also have some stick by which we ensure that they do not misuse the power? And that stick is this article. ये जो दो अभी आपने लिखे. Without this, we cannot manage a big federal polity like India. इतने बड़े देश को चलाना मुश्किल है, particularly when we have multi-party democracy and the voter base is very illiterate and poor. These voters in Karnataka may not punish the government also. They might see that the Karnataka government is not cooperating with the center regarding maintenance of the railway properties, but they might not remove them from power. Caste-based politics itni hai. You can see that Karnataka, I am only using example, do not write an exam Karnataka government, ये तो सिर्फ एक example है. You are residents of Karnataka and you can very well see that Karnataka government is ignoring the directions of the center and it is not cooperating with the center regarding smooth flow of railways through the state because of some ego clash between the two parties ruling center and the Karnataka. आपको दिख रहा है. But in the next election, instead of punishing that government in Karnataka, you bring that government back. Why? Casteism नहीं, in South कुछ और चलता है. TV, fridge. Before election they gave you TV, fridge, but without electricity. वो अगले elections में. Okay, this way. So we need such strong measures whereby center can dismiss the state government. Because ultimately who is the sufferer? People. Gujars are protesting in Rajasthan. Highway block. सिर्फ example के लिए बोल रहा हूँ. Let's not talk even that. Community A protesting on highway between Delhi and Rajasthan in Rajasthan. And Rajasthan government can easily remove them. Hypothetical case. But they are not doing so. Who is sufferer? People. Should not center have in this situation some strong measure by which it can threaten the state government, remove the protester, or we remove you? होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए? And that threat is in the form of these two articles which you just wrote. And these two articles are making India unitary or federal? Unitary. Because power is getting concentrated in the hands of center, of course, for good reasons. Clear, sir? Next. Next point by which again I will tell how India is unitary. दोबारा से बताऊंगा इंडिया यूनिटरी कैसे है. I'll take 3 classes on these all India services, the role of civil services in democracy and all. It's very critical because it comes in part of governance, right? But then, right now, just have this idea that we have how many all India services? Sir, कितनी all India services हैं इंडिया में? IFS. ठीक है? Indian Forest Services, so that you do not confuse it with foreign. ESV है सर, वो ऑल इंडिया सर्विस है. Indian Engineering Service is an all India service. No, I'll explain that. Don't worry. अभी सरल रट्टा लगाओ. 3. We have only 3 all India services: IAS, IPS, Indian Forest, not foreign forest services. ठीक है? Now see. Sometime back, last month itself, this came in newspaper that we should come up with a new all India service. Indian? Very good. Do we have something like Indian Education Service? अभी तक तो नहीं है. But we want that Indian Education Service should be started and it should be made a 4th All India Service. ये बात चल रही है. Now let me tell you the importance of All India Services in very brief. I'll explain that in length later on. सिर्फ इतना समझ लो that if this is the administration of a state, अगर ये है, let's take today's Haryana day, Haryana state administration. Now suppose this is the representation of Haryana state administration. Who are the officers who are occupying the top positions? They are mostly IAS. They are not from Haryana civil services. Top positions की बात कर रहा हूँ. The top positions are occupied by Indian administrative service people in general administration and in policing also. At the top position you find people from Indian police service. Understood, sir? And even in forest they will be recruited at the senior level. What I mean to say is that, listen very carefully, whether it is Haryana or Gujarat or Maharashtra, the administration of the state is being run on the shoulders of all India services officers. It is the IAS, IPS and forest officers who are running the administration of the state on their shoulders. They are very important. They are giving directions to the administration of the state. State में क्या करना है, कब करना है, कैसे करना है, is decided by them. Which policies to be implemented, how to be implemented. See, the CM will not know much. After all, he is a layman, but he is not an expert in governance. He is just a layman. He is your representative. Who are expert in administration? These people. They have been trained in Mussoorie or Hyderabad. इनको पता है कि administration कैसे चलाना है. Now see, if they IAS, IPS, if you want to gauge the importance of these officers, no, 3rd of July, the chief of Al Qaeda for South Asia, he issued a warning that you should actually kill these IAS and IPS officers if you want to inflict a damage to the Indian administration. So is the importance of these officers, because if you hurt them, you are hurting the administration directly. Okay, they are extremely important, they are extremely vital for the administration. अब आप ये देखो, and these officers are recruited by whom? भाई आप you will clear UPSC and then only you will become IAS, IPS or forest officer. Okay, means you are being selected into the system by union government. By UPSC is kind of part of union system or not? And after getting selected, you will move to different states. अपने cadre में जाओगे आप लोग, and you will take charge of the administration of that state or not? But still, you know one thing. For example, you got Uttar Pradesh cadre, sir. UP cadre मिला आपको, and you became IAS. Can UP government suspend you from service? दुर्गा जी का नाम सुना है आपने? दुर्गा शक्ति नागपाल, IAS officer, Uttar Pradesh cadre. She was suspended by UP government or not? Could UP government dismiss her from service? No. Ultimate punishment to these officers or reward to these officers is in the hands of center. समझ रहे हो मेरी बात? Means these now this is the bottom line. These officers, IAS, IPS, forest officers, they are managing the state on their own shoulder. However, their ultimate string is in the hands of center. So by influencing them, maybe wrongly, cannot center influence the state? वो बोल देगा. For example, center wishes that we want the law and order situation in this state to go down. यहाँ का law and order पिट जाना चाहिए. So what center will do? Center will give direction to IAS and IPS. My dear, ensure that when riots to take place or when there is a problem in the state, you become passive. In that scenario, will law and order not come down of the state? Because रोकने वाला ही नहीं है. Then that pretext, the failure of law and order machinery, can be used by center to impose president rule. Means president rule was imposed in this state because of the convenience of these officers. Through these officers, center actually brought down the government. Law and order बिगड़वा दिया. Then they used this situation to impose president rule. Means these officers like governors can be misused by center to harass states. एक तो बात ये हो गई. Okay, but this was in a negative way. On other side, positive side, can it not happen that center wants that we want a uniformity of education across India? Because these officers, they are uniformly distributed. Now you are coming from different states. Once you get selected, you will go to different cadres. Sir, which cadre will you get? You don't know. You will go to different cadre and probably you might get a different cadre than your home cadre. अलग मिलने के chances है. And whole batch will be distributed in different areas. Now you got common training. Training तो सबने मसूरी में की थी. And you pass the common exam. When you go to different states, will not your performance be uniform? Chances are there or not? भाई आप सारे एक ही सर्विस से तो निकल के आए हो. So through you, center can bring uniformity of administration. Now center is trying that we should have uniformity of education standards across India. So we should bring a new service which is called as Indian Education Service. अभी तक है नहीं. Center wants that we should have a new all India service called as Indian Education Service. Now when we have this new service, all India service, एक और ऑफिसर आ जाएगा स्टेट में. If we have a new all India service called as Indian Education Service, then state will get a new officer who will be from Indian Education Service, but again this officer will be under the influence of center only. So jitni more you create all India services, will not influence of center increase in the state? And can center increase or create new all India services at its will? Under which article? भाई अगर आपको एक नई ऑल इंडिया सर्विस बनानी है, हाउ विल यू क्रिएट? अंडर आर्टिकल 312, राज्यसभा ओनली कैन इनिशिएट द प्रोसेस of creation of a new all India service. If we want to start Indian education service, then this process can be initiated in Rajya Sabha. Then only it can be created, otherwise not. We cannot start the process in Lok Sabha. ठीक है ना? लिखो इसको पहले first and read what you're writing. Then I'll explain again. Write down. Under Article 312, 312 में, under Article 312, Rajya Sabha can authorize the Parliament to create one or more all India services these AIS officers, all India services officers, are appointed by center. इनको center appoint करता है. But they come under the larger disciplinary control of the center, and they largely manage the state administration under the state government. Dual control है इनके ऊपर. They have got dual control. They are under the control of state government as well as center. If you are in Uttar Pradesh cadre, you are under the control of both Uttar Pradesh government as well as the union. Therefore, by controlling all India services, what can happen? Bolo sir. Hanji? Excellent. Center can influence the state administration. Likho. Center can influence the state administration. Is it not a unitary feature? Unitary feature to hai. Next. India has got next feature, which will again prove that we are unitary. Sir, what is going on, you know? अभी ये सब चल क्या रहा है? Next, what is this? We are unitary. By all these points, I am again proving how we are unitary, right? Right now. India has a single and unified judicial system. With Supreme Court at apex. America. अरे लिखना नहीं सुनो. America. Every state has got its own Supreme Court or not? For example, if you have to abolish the death penalty in Louisiana, then the Supreme Court of that particular state will take the final call, whether it is unconstitutional or constitutional. Agreed or not? Every state will have its own Supreme Court, and regarding the major matters of that particular area, the Supreme Court of that particular state will take the final stance. However, in India, whether it is the issue of Andhra or it is the issue of Kerala or Tamil Nadu or Kashmir, the final decision is given by Supreme Court of India. The states are not having their own Supreme Courts. Okay, so is it not a unitary feature? Had you been truly federal, you would have given a judicial system in each and every state. That is not the case. We have a common judicial system. High courts. Is the High Court of Bengal High Court of Bengal? Bolo. Is the High Court of West Bengal actually only the High Court of West Bengal? No. It is actually a system, judicial system of India, which is operating in West Bengal, which is coming under the Constitution of India only. However, this is not the case in federal system like America or Australia. Every state has got its own judicial system. यहाँ ऐसा नहीं है. High Court of West Bengal is operating in West Bengal, but it does not mean that it is coming under the control of West Bengal. ठीक है ना? Write down. Next. Article 324. What is it? Excellent. बहुत बढ़िया. Article 324 provides for common and independent election commission for holding the elections of parliament. Who conducts the election of state legislature? Election Commission of state or India? Are states having election commission? Yes. States are also having election commissions or not? Yes. But they are not conducting the election of state assembly or legislature. It is being conducted by Election Commission of India. Though Election Commission of India is independent, but ultimately the election commissioners are in position thanks to whom? President or not? Means somehow it can be influenced by the center or not, if they want. आप बताओ, आई एम इलेक्शन कमीशन, चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया, एग्जाम्पल, चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया, आई एम इन माई सीट थैंक्स टू my qualifications, but then somehow there is a role played by center also or not, but they made me come in the position or not. If I want to compromise on my integrity, I may become biased towards center or not. I might conduct the elections of a particular state in such a way that the state government suffers. You push this button or that button, vote will go to only to one party. ऐसा arrangement करा दूंगा. Otherwise, if you think from a federal orientation, every state should have got its own election commission or not. But then this is not the case. It is pointing to the fact that India is federal, na? Right now. Under Article 324, India has got a common and independent election commission to hold free and fair elections for parliament and state legislatures. Who audits the account of state? CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General. And he is again, like the case example I just took now, some time back, CAG is in position because of whom? Of course his qualification. But somehow his appointment can be influenced by president or not. And president is appoint by CAG. कौन appoint होता है, कौन करता है? President. And president is appointing the CAG on the recommendation of course CUM. Means somehow this CAG can get influenced by the CUM or not. And CAG is auditing the account of every state. So if this CAG chooses to sell his integrity, then he can harass a particular state or not. कर देगा वो ये. But thankfully this is not the case. And we have got very independent Comptroller and Auditor General like Mr. Vinod Rai, who set example of being very free and unbiased CAG. But then every person is not Vinod Rai, no? Right. CAG carries the audit of. CAG carries the audit of accounts for both union and state governments. He is appointed by president and removed by him with the approval of parliament. Removed by him with the approval of parliament. Therefore, many a times state governments, particularly ruled by opposition, complain about the biased nature of his office. Biased nature of his office. ठीक है सर? Biased nature of his office. Office नहीं लिखना है, of his office. सीट्स इन लोकसभा, सर आप बताओ, यू टेल मी, सीट्स इन लोकसभा, इज इट फिक्स्ड और इट कैन वेरी एवरी ईयर? इट कैन वेरी. फिक्स्ड है सर, फिक्स्ड है सर, ये फिक्स. ओके. एंड राज्यसभा ये भी फिक्स्ड है. इफ यू वांट टू चेंज इट देन हाउ? हाँ, अभी तो फ्रीज्ड है, बट देन इफ वी वांट टू चेंज इट बाय एन एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट ओनली, मींस it is actually fixed how many MPs will sit in Lok Sabha and how many MPs will sit in Rajya Sabha. ये fixed है, determined, predetermined. Okay, but from where we will get these MPs? From states only. Okay. Now let me tell you that Indian political system, be alert now. Indian political system is such that not equal number of MPs who are sitting in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are coming from every state. Some states are sending more MPs to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and some are sending less. Which is the state which has got maximum number of MPs? Uttar Pradesh, no doubt. And which lowest? सारे नाम ले दो, मणिपुर, नागालैंड, सिक्किम. Every state is sending a fixed number of MPs to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha because every state is accordingly divided into constituencies. ठीक है ना? Reason being, in India, the representation of every state either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha is according to population. ये पता है ना सर आपको? Uttar Pradesh has got maximum population, so there are maximum representatives of Uttar Pradesh coming to the parliament. Other states having less population are having lesser number of representatives in the union parliament. Population के हिसाब से है यहाँ पे. Do you think it is actually a federal nature of our polity? Federal means, listen here, federal means union and states are equal or almost at par. It also means that among every state we maintain parity. We do not discriminate among states also. Federal means this also. If we are favoring Maharashtra and we are biased against Karnataka, then this is not a federal spirit. Agreed or not? But then don't you think that this is anti-federal? Uttar Pradesh is sending more number of people to center legislature and other states are having lesser numbers. Don't you think it is federal nature? बोलो यार, yes or no? Why not? ये एंटी फेडरल नहीं है सर भाई. इन अमेरिका if you see in Senate, the upper house, you find equal number of representatives coming from every state. State की population कितनी भी हो, in America equal number of representatives are coming to the legislature, Congress. It is not happening in India. It is not. Is it not anti-federal? But if you are true federal, bring parity between center and state and also bring parity among all the states. ऐसा तो हो नहीं रहा. And there is also one more point regarding representation in Rajya Sabha that can be seen as anti-federal. What is that? एक चीज और है. Exactly. See, in Rajya Sabha there are 12 MPs who are coming after nomination. Means president is nominating them. Tendulkar going very good, nominate him. Rekha very good, इनको भी nominate करो MP में. अमिताभ बच्चन को भी बना सकते थे. Or some scientist. Getting me or not? People who are expert in different walks of life, they can be nominated in Rajya Sabha to take benefit from their experience. ठीक है ना सर? म्यूजिक में किसको भेजते? समझ रहे हो सर? But don't you think that these 12 MPs who are sent to Rajya Sabha directly by the president, who is actually a representative of union also, is anti-federal? भाई राज्य सभा का पर्पस क्या है? What is the purpose of forming Rajya Sabha? Tell me this. Rajya Sabha is a body which is representative of states. Representative of states means that, see, when I'll take Rajya Sabha, I'll go into the depth of it. Representative of states means that Rajya Sabha somehow deals with the laws which will have direct bearing on the states, as well as the members of Rajya Sabha are elected by the MLAs or the representative of the state legislatures. Rajya Sabha MP कहाँ से आते हैं? State legislature के जो members हैं, the members of the state legislature, they elect the member of Rajya Sabha. Means Rajya Sabha is a body which represents the interest of states. Understood? But then in a body where only the representatives from the state should come, there are 12 people who are coming directly from nomination. President साहब उनको directly बिठा देते हैं वहाँ पे. And sometimes it is alleged that they are in house because they are close to central government. ठीक है सर? Tomorrow Saif Khan might get a place in Rajya Sabha for his creative acting, unparalleled acting. बना देंगे उनको nomination. Okay. Right now. उन्हीं पे आता है सर. यही तो बताया अभी आपको मैंने. Write down. Unequal representation of states. Unequal representation of states. Brackets according to population. Unequal representation of states, brackets according to population in Rajya Sabha, and 12 nominations made by the president in Rajya Sabha which is also the Council of States, can be seen as a clear violation of federal principles. As I told you, in America you will not find this discrepancy. In America, what is the case? Every state, same number of representatives in Senate. ठीक है ना? Now this is a summary. खत्म हो गया, लिख दो. On account of all the above points, on account of this debate लिख लो, on account of above points लिख लो, whatever you want. On account of above discussion, we can say, now this is a conclusion, that India has got a federal structure with a strong what? With a strong unitary bias. With a strong unitary bias. From which country we have taken this system? In fact, some scholars refer this arrangement as federation sui generis. Federation sui generis. What is the meaning of sui generis? Unique, अपनी किस्म का. Federation sui generis, brackets of its own type. आई. अब ये बताओ, tell me one thing, what is the meaning of this federation of its own type? इसका मतलब क्या है? बोलो. Come up with the answer. What is the meaning when I say that India has been therefore called as federation sui generis or federation of its own type? इसका कुछ मतलब भी तो होगा. What is the meaning of it? Federation of its own type. What is the meaning of it? Yes. Generally, America federal arrangement is considered to be a model of federation. Okay, but we have not taken it completely. We have deviated. Means though every federal arrangement is seen with respect to America, but we have formed a different model of federation. हमारा अपना एक अलग टाइप का फेडरेशन सिस्टम है. Why you compare our system with America and you say that you are not federal, you are unitary? We are federal, but we are federal with unitary bias. We are different kind of federation than America. Therefore, people say that India is alag kind of federation. It's a federation sui generis. Don't compare Indian federal system with American federal system because you cannot compare apple with orange. ये बात बोलते हैं वो लोग. दोनों अलग-अलग टाइप की चीजें. Don't compare them. Do not say that India is not federal because India polity has got different features than America. Why should we compare ourselves with America? Our realities are different from America. So we have adjusted this federal arrangement according to our own needs. Understood this point? Clear? Any doubt? If the question comes, what is the source of federal scheme in Indian polity? Source. अभी तो कनाडा बोला था. Answer is this or answer is this? If देखो pre में you have to read very carefully the things. If the question says from where we have taken the federal scheme, answer will be Government of India Act 1935, because Government of India Act 1935 provided for this thing that at the union that we will distribute the subjects such that few subjects will be dealt by government at the union level and the other will be dealt by the government at the provincial level. That time they were called as provinces. Okay, इस तरह से हमने divide कर दिया था for the first time. And this we have taken after independence also. However, इसका एक extension भी है. Federal scheme, ये अगर आया, only if this comes in examination, you write Government of India Act. Because federal scheme means we are dividing the subjects between union and the states. But if the question comes from where we took federal scheme with unitary bias or strong center, अगर ये question आया, what will be the answer? Canada. Okay. From where we took fundamental duties, sir? USSR. बहुत बढ़िया. I discussed that previously or not? ये किया था मैंने? Some say yes, some say no. Law making procedures, which country? Law making procedures. ये question आ गया. Britain. Excellent. Law making procedures means from which country we have taken the procedure to make law? Is Britain. Procedure established by law, this system has been taken from where? Amendment with 2/3 majority. South Africa. Impeachment of president. Elections of president. Impeachment तो USA, election कहाँ से लिया? Ireland. DPSP. Excellent. See, I mean there are so many things you can read from Lakshmikant also, but the better way to do these things is to discuss. When you discuss, you will remember easily. Agreed? From where we have a judicial independence, from where, which country? Judicial review? USA. Vice President will be the ex officio chairman of the upper house has been taken from which country? USA or UK? UK नहीं है. Why not? अरे सोचने की बात ही नहीं है. Is UK having presidential system? खत्म. वाइस प्रेसिडेंट तो है ही नहीं ना यूके में. Do we have separation of power system? Separation of power है यहाँ पे? What is the meaning of separation of power, sir? बोलो. Separation of power means that power is not concentrated in one place. The power to make law is with somebody, power to execute law is with different body, and the power to give justice is with third body. किसी एक जगह पे नहीं है. Okay, tell me, in which case you actually see separation of power taking place in real sense? Where you see separation of power taking place in real sense? USA. Not in India, sir. इंडिया में है, यूके में नहीं है. नहीं, अब एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं, ये तो इन रियल सेंस. विच कंट्री? विच कंट्री? यूएसए यार. आई टोल्ड यू व्हेन आई वाज एक्सप्लेनिंग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनलिज्म, एक डायग्राम भी बनाया था. जिन I told you that in America, legislature and executive, they are completely watertightly separated from each other. Whereas in India, do you find a real separation of powers? ऐसा तो है ही नहीं. In fact, I gave you the diagram also, if you remember. Their powers are separated clearly, no doubt in that. However, their powers can be overlapping because the body which is executive is actually legislative also. So executive will have influence in lawmaking or not. So this way we have taken separation of power concept from which country? USA. But it is not as perfectly implemented as it is in USA. ये डिफरेंस है. क्वेश्चन अगर आ गया that from which country we have taken separation of power, answer will be USA. But then if they ask you some clarification, then you have to write that though we have taken separation of power concept from America, the difference is that it is not as watertight as it is in America. And एक चीज और है, we have separation of power with what? Checks and balances. बहुत बढ़िया. We have separation of powers, agreed, but we also have checks and balances. What is the meaning? He is doing his work. I am doing my work. He is doing his work. सब अपना अपना काम कर रहे हैं. But then this is not the end of it. We are also having an eye on others' work. Separation of power तो है. My work is to teach, his work is to get taught, and his work is to control the information sent online. Okay, and we are doing our own work. However, are we not keeping an eye on each other's work? He's keeping an eye on me, I am keeping an eye on him. Both of us might keep an eye on him and vice versa also. Means we are a system where we are doing our own job, but then this is not the story. We don't close our eyes beyond our job. We keep an eye on the working of other body also. And that has been created through the system itself. ये इनका काम है. For example, it is a role of judiciary to keep an eye on the work of legislature and executive judicial review. इसे ही बोलते हैं. Okay. However, these checks and balances, are they not found in America? Yes or no? Exactly. भाई checks and balances तो वहां पे भी है. First I said separation of power exists or not. Answer is separation of power has been taken from America, but their separation of power is watertight. बिल्कुल clear है. Here it is not watertight, overlapping. My second question was that do we follow checks and balances or not? You said yes, agreed. What is the difference of the system of checks and balances used in America and India? ये question है. What will be your answer? She said correctly, checks and balances found in America is not that strong as it is found in India. For example, I told you, आप ये देखो, if this executive is not working fine, India की बात कर रहा हूँ, if executive is not working fine, cannot legislature remove the executive through no confidence motion, for example, or defeating an important bill of the government? अगर वो bill हार गया parliament में, government has to go. है कि नहीं? Means if the government is not working fine, there is somebody who will keep an eye on it, and judiciary will also keep an eye on it. Checks and balances ही तो है. However, in America, this is the model. America, this is the model. You see separation of power existing. Power तो separate है ना? Law making, law implementing and justice. But checks and balances are also existing, but not to the extent as it is found in India. Legislature here can impeach the president. Who is the head of the executive? President. Legislature can impeach the president in America, but the process is so difficult that it is equal to being non-existent. Separation of power has been taken from America. However, we have modified it according to our own needs. We have brought the concept of checks and balances, which is much stronger than the checks and balances found in America. Understood anything or not? लिख लो. Right. Give the heading theory of separation of power. Only 2-3 lines, not more. Theory of separation of powers. It was the French philosopher Montesquieu. It was the French philosopher Montesquieu who first gave the idea of separation of powers. Because see, before him, king had all the powers. सारी ताकत राजा के पास. And he was misusing it because of that. In which the three wings of government, that is legislature, write with understanding, legislature, executive and judiciary shall be separated into watertight compartments with the object means purpose, with the object of preventing the state from becoming what? Totalitarian or dictator. From becoming totalitarian. From becoming totalitarian. Totalitarian means dictator, having all the powers. And safeguard individuals' liberty. And safeguard individuals' liberty. From which revolution we got this word liberty? French Revolution. Okay. Which was the first country to implement this separation of power principle? France. USA. America was the first country. Okay. From which country we took this concept of fundamental rights? USA. वहां पे there we call it the Bill of Rights. Okay. From which country we have taken the provision that during emergency we can suspend fundamental rights? Germany. Okay. Write down. However, this concept has been accepted by Indian Constitution also. This concept means separation of power. Indian Constitution also, in a modified form. वहां पे क्या है? What you find in America? Separation of powers. Here we find separation of powers with checks and balances. Very good. In a modified forms as doctrine English. Doctrine मत लिखना सर. Doctrine, principle, as doctrine of checks and balances. Accompany separation of powers. That is though each organ of the government is doing its task it is also keeping an eye and control, not only eye but control, keeping an eye and control over the other organs also. Pure separation of power is not possible in India. Supreme Court in Kannan Dasan versus Supreme Court in Kannan Dasan versus Tamil Nadu case. Supreme Court in Kannan Dasan versus Tamil Nadu case 1996 declared that Constitution incorporates Constitution incorporates the doctrine of checks and balances. Later on, change the paragraph and then write. Later on, Supreme Court declared the theory of separation of power as part of basic structure of Constitution. Is it clear till now? Any problem? सर एक बात बताओ, You must have seen marriage proposals coming at home. आपके लिए नहीं, आपके बड़े भाई के लिए, for your elder brother. Okay. What are the 3 words which the family of the would-be bride used to describe that particular individual when they come to your house? अरे सारी फिल्मों में वही 3 डायलॉग होते हैं यार, सेम रिपीटिशन. हाँ, इन्हें पता है, बताओ, जल्दी बताओ. तीसरा संस्कारी, मतलब वही सुशील में आ जाता है. है ना? These 3 words are enough for you to get convinced that the other individual is the right choice for you or not. भाई पहली मीटिंग में तो यही बोलेंगे ना. When they come and meet you for the first time, will they start saying everything? She is BA, MA, PhD, this, that, height is so much, and all these sanskars. ये तो नहीं बताएंगे ना. When you encounter something for the first time, you just go for the summary or you go for the detail? Summary. Because by summary you can understand what kind of that individual is. अब आप एक बात सुनो. When you got this proposal for you, that so and so girl is this, you will create a kind of impression or not? This is the right choice for me. Yes or no? बोलो यार. Yes. In this case, what happens? The person who is coming with a proposal for him, in his first meeting, he is giving him the summary. यहाँ summary पहले दी जा रही है and description later on. Okay. In Indian Constitution, it happened otherwise. India Constitution थोड़ा सा उल्टा हुआ. We formed the Constitution first and then we made the summary. और लगा दी मगर पहले. Okay. Remember this, in prelims they can ask you a question. When was preamble formed? Let me tell you, preamble was not formed before writing the Constitution. It was formed after the Constitution was written. What was written before writing the Constitution? Objective resolution. बहुत बढ़िया, very good, बहुत सुंदर. Objective resolution was written by whom? It was created by Jawaharlal Nehru. It got passed on the basis of objective resolution. Objective resolution means it was kind of a vision or a framework, probable blueprint for the constitution. कि भाई हमारा constitution कैसा हो, ऐसा हो. Objective resolution. Okay. Then on the basis of principles mentioned in the objective resolution, we formed the constitution, sir. After the constitution was written, हमें लगा that everyone might not get the time to read the whole constitution. Why will you find time to read the whole constitution? Even if you have the time, you will not have the understanding. वो भी बहुत difficult है. It's such a big, bulky book, written in a very complicated language. So somebody who is coming from abroad, who is just witnessing the Indian Constitution for the first time, should he not get a feel of what Indian Constitution is? And he will get the feel of what Indian Constitution is or what India is from where? Preamble. Preamble is the half page in Indian Constitution which describes this of Indian Constitution. What are the characteristics of Indian Constitution? What Indian state is like is mentioned in preamble. तो ये preamble अच्छी चीज है कि नहीं है? But if you don't have time to go into the detail of everything, you can just read the preamble and then you got a glimpse that, oh, India is such a good country, I should migrate to India from America. ठीक है ना? And this is the use of preamble. Preamble gives you a glimpse of the constitution. It's kind of a summary. Other benefits of preamble आप ही बताओगे. And please do a correction in the preamble printout. जो भी आपको printout मिला है, do a correction in that. I'll read it and there you add the word. ठीक है? We, the people of India, इधर निकालो. You didn't get the printout. शेयर कर लो यार इनके साथ. You take it. People who didn't get it, you can take it after the class and do this correction. ये mistake है इसमें. We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India. We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular नहीं है इसमें. Write down secular, socialist. Socialist भी नहीं है. Socialist, secular, democratic republic. Add the word socialist, secular, democratic republic. जो amendment हुई थी वो इसमें add नहीं की हुई. Okay. Then you move further. Justice, liberty, equality, and promote among all fraternity. Assuring the dignity of individual and unity and integrity. Unity and integrity. Please add the word integrity after unity. Got the thing or not? You have the paper or not? तो फिर अभी मिलेगा भी. Understood? You have to add 3 words: socialist, secular, and integrity. Because these 3 words were added in the preamble by which amendment? 42nd. Okay, ये amendment हुआ था preamble में, and these 3 words were added in 1976. Let me tell you, there must be at least 60% people in this class who must be getting unnerved that I am not in a position to answer, whereas others are answering very well. Let me tell you, this is not a threat. Some people must have read these things previously. No need to worry about. You will be able to catch with them within 2 weeks, provided you are again alert in the class and you are sincere at home. ठीक है sir? No need to worry. Write 2-3 lines on preamble. Preamble is the new topic. Which part of the constitution is called as the ornamental or decorative part of the constitution? Preamble. Of course, वही chapter चल रहा है. Preamble and ornamental. What is the reason it is called as the ornamental part of the constitution? Ornamental means beautifies. और in Hindi दिखावा, दिखावे के लिए है बस. Ornamental is something which actually is not having much force, but it is there, kind of a showpiece. भाई तलवार देखी कभी आपने? You have seen the model of sword. Will it cut anything? No, it will not cut. But at least it will give an impression that it is a sword or not. Therefore, people say that it is a decorative and ornamental part because it is not enforceable in the court of law. You cannot go to the court and say, this preamble principle has not been implemented by the government, so take action against them. It is not enforceable in the court of law. Enforceable, you know or not? Enforceable means you cannot go to the court and you have the thing implemented. Fundamental rights, enforceable or not? Yes. If your fundamental rights are not being met by the state, you can go to the court and you can say, sir, my fundamental rights have been violated, so please give me justice. Justice will be given to you. DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy. Something is UCC. You see this? UCC, Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code means in some areas like marriage, divorce, adoption, there every religion has got its own laws. Muslims, different laws. Hindus, different laws. Christians, different law. We want a uniform law to apply in these areas of marriage, divorce, adoption. But then this is not the case. However, Constitution directs the state that in times to come, you bring a uniformity in this area. Divorce laws are same in Hindus and Muslims? No. But then Constitution says to the government, the state, that please, in times to come, whenever you get the resources, you bring a common law across all the religion in these areas of marriage, divorce, adoption. But abhi aisa nahi hai na. Can you go to the court and you say that this is written in the Constitution that there should be a common law in these areas across all the religion, and this is not the case, sir, take action against the state? Can you say this in the court? No. Even if uniform civil code is mentioned in the constitution, you cannot go to the state, to the court and say, sir, this has not been implemented, punish the state. No, because UCC is mentioned in that part of the constitution, which is itself not enforceable. आप कोर्ट में नहीं जा सकते that this is part of DPSP and this has not been implemented by the government. This was the difference between being enforceable and non-enforceable. ये बताया था मैंने आपको. Similarly, preamble, is it enforceable or non-enforceable? Non-enforceable. You cannot go to the court and say this is mentioned in the preamble, so this should happen. No. It may happen, it may not happen. Enforceable नहीं है ना वो. You cannot bring dispute on the government or the state on the basis of something written in the preamble. Understood this? इसलिए वो decorative part दिखावे की. But then let me tell you, if question comes in pre में अगर आ गया, which is the decorative part, you will write preamble. But if the question comes in mains, Indian preamble is a decorative or दिखावा or ornamental part, justify or explain or comment. Do not just write yes, it is ornamental, it is decorative, दिखावे का है, कोई use नहीं है, फाड़ देना चाहिए page. No. You should also write that though it is non-enforceable, it is not forcible in court, it has some important purposes because of which it becomes indispensable. We cannot do away with the preamble. ये आंसर में लिखना आप लोग. I hope you must have got the session on answer writing. हुआ ना आपका? They must have told you that you have to write both the parts of an issue. Clear? Write down. From which constitution did we take up this provision? America. Was Government of India Act 1935 having preamble? No. हमने खुद बनाया. Write down. It is customary, but not compulsory. Custom है, बना देते हैं, compulsory नहीं है. But not compulsory for a constitution to have preamble. Is UK having a preamble? Sir, है UK में? सोचने की बात ही नहीं यार. No, it is an unwritten constitution. Okay. इसको भी लिख लो. Unwritten constitutions do not have a preamble. Unwritten constitutions do not have a preamble. And written constitution? Very bright class. May or may not have a preamble. And a written constitution may or may not have a preamble. Example, Government of India Act 1935 did not have it. Again, a humble request, what you are writing, write with understanding. लिखना और सोचना should be on the same line. It should not happen that you are writing something and thinking about something else. ठीक है सर? लिख रहे preamble and thinking about Sultan. No. देखो. Preamble is regarded as introduction. Preamble is regarded as introduction. Preamble is regarded as introduction or prelude. Prelude मतलब एक kind of a announcement or घोषणा. Yes. Introduction or prelude to the constitution or the summary of the whole constitution. It declares the basic values. It declares the basic values on which what is there? On which constitution is built or based. What was the character of the Constituent Assembly or the people who made the constitution? Can you know that? उनका नेचर कैसा था? You did not meet them, of course, but then still there is an instrument through which you can go into their minds and see what kind of people they were. What? Lawyers तो थे by profession, but mentality कैसी थी उनकी? हाँ जी बताओ, tell me. नहीं, what was the mentality or orientation of the people in the Constituent Assembly? How will you tell me? And what was it? India should be a secular country. Right now we are debating this. This was very much clear in their minds. At least it became very much clear by 42nd Amendment Act, because in preamble this word called as secular was added. And you know why this word was added? It was not to reflect that the government of 1976 is very secular. It was to tell the world that, see, the people who actually formed the constitution, they were also having a secular mindset. So they explicitly mentioned this word. Because see, did we actually become secular only after 42nd Amendment Act? 42nd Amendment Act क्या था? 42nd Amendment Act introduced this word secular, that India is secular in the preamble. Did we actually become secular after 42nd Amendment Act? No, we were secular much before. How do you know that? From the Constitution. Which provision, sir? Right to religion, for example. You have that or not? 25 to 28. They are explicitly giving you some rights across all the religions. Means they had this feeling, also 14 and 15. They had this in mind that any person from every religion, he should have common rights, or there should not be discrimination. But only we added this word in preamble in 42nd Amendment Act. What could have been the purpose? क्या purpose था? To tell the people that, listen, don't have any ambiguity regarding the nature of Indian state. We were secular, and if you want, we add this word, we are secular, and we will remain secular. इसलिए word add किया था. Such is the importance of preamble. Every word in preamble is a kind of an announcement to the world that this is the nature of Indian state, and this was the philosophy of the people who made the constitution. Then, socialistic tendencies for which Jawaharlal Nehru was very much famous. Now you can actually vouch on this fact that Nehruji was a socialist from the fact that it is written in the preamble also. And he was one of the people who were making the team that was making the constitution. उसकी पूरी summary हमने preamble में डाली है. Whatever is in preamble, using that you can decipher the orientation of the people who were making the constitution. ये उसकी importance है कि नहीं है sir? Write down.
Also for the composition of the Constituent Assembly, you can say from the beginning that they included people of other religions.
Yes, see, that can happen. For example, it can happen that it is an assembly. I may have 10 Muslims, 10 Christians, but I may have 80 Hindus. I have representation, but their voices may get muzzled or not. Write down. Preamble contains the key. Preamble contains the key. Key means chabi in English. Preamble contains the key to unravel. Unravel means to open up. To unravel the minds of constitution makers. And tell us the intentions that they had regarding various provisions of the constitution. Regarding various provisions of the constitution. Give the heading nature of preamble. Preamble किस nature का बना है? Actually, no need to discuss this or even dictate this, but then they may ask you exactly the same question. What is preamble? Write down the nature. पूछ भी सकते हैं आपसे. Because they have the habit of asking these questions. पूछते थे पहले, what is constitution? Salient features of Indian constitution. If I put the same question to you, sir, what are the salient features of Indian Constitution? एक चीज, it is a written constitution. Other, do not give peripheral points first and core points later. First, hid, huh? First, it is written constitution. It is lengthiest constitution. Third feature, sir, it gives rise to federal. But then you say it's a mix of rigidity and flexibility. It is lengthiest constitution. Any other feature? It is democratically formed. Write few things about the constitution itself first. और उसके बाद आप ये लिखो कि it gives rise to this, it gives rise to that. Okay? Amendable भी है. These are the salient, means most important features of the constitution. देखो, I deliberately did not dictate you this, so that you should have some room to think and write on your own. Nature of preamble first. Preamble is in the form of a declaration. एक घोषणा है ये. Preamble is in the form of a declaration. It does not confer, next nature, preamble does not confer, very important point, preamble does not confer substantive powers on organs of government, nor can it limit them, preamble ना तो पावर देता है ना लेता है to the government. If this is preamble, ये तो है ही, and this is constitution. Suppose there is a situation that preamble has a clause and constitution has clause B and preamble has clause A and they appear to be antagonistic. Appears बोल रहा हूं मैं. Two things are antagonistic or not. It can be a matter of perception. You may perceive it that they are antagonistic. I may perceive no, actually they are in the same line. पिताजी ने डांटा है ना हमें कभी. Our parents have disciplined us. Were they are anti? No. Somebody might perceive it this way. Had your parents been loving you, they would have never slapped you. But ऐसा तो नहीं है ना. Even if they slapped you, the purpose was to discipline you, so that in future you do not commit this mistake and you are punished by law. Getting me or not? So see, something which might appear to be antagonistic, it may not be actually antagonistic, it might be just a matter of perception. So this can happen here also. Preamble might have a provision A and constitution might have a provision B. दोनों में दो different words हैं and they might appear to be antagonistic. दोनों में ऐसा लगेगा यार, we can have either of them. If this is a situation that we have to choose one thing over other, दोनों आपस में टकरा रहे हैं और एक को choose करना पड़ेगा. Either constitutionally A should exist or B should exist. Then who should exist? B. Preamble is subordinate to constitution. If there is a provision in the preamble which clashes with the provision of the constitution, then the provision of constitution will prevail. Means preamble is subordinate to constitution. अगर आपस में झगड़ा होगा तो उसकी चलेगी. किसकी? Constitution. Write down. Preamble cannot overwrite. Preamble cannot overwrite any specific provision of the Constitution. That is, it is subordinate to Constitution. It is subordinate to Constitution. I told you, na. You agree with this idea or not? That if there is a clash, we should follow the constitution, not the preamble. ये सही है गलत है? Obviously ये dictate हुआ है तो सही होगा. But then there must be some logic also, no? Bhai, when the proposal came for his marriage, the person said this. ये तीन चीजें तो बोल दी इन्होंने समरी में. ये खुश भी बहुत हुए. He became very happy also. But then he went into the details. अच्छा पढ़े लिखे कितनी है? He said first class. First class में तो first class आई थी. She never went to second class. अब इसे पढ़े लिखे बोलेंगे? No. Is it not a conflict? Summary is not matching with the provision, detail provision. So in this case, should we rely on the summary or should we rely on the detail provision? Detail provision. Same is this. If there are two provisions, one in preamble, other in constitution, and they appear to be in clash or not in line, then we will not be in ambiguity. We'll refer the constitution provision and move ahead. Here it is written, preamble में यहाँ लिखा है that we are a secular country. In constitution, we are giving special privileges to the minorities also. Are they not appearing to be antagonistic? If you are truly secular, why are you giving some facilities to the people from minorities? They appear to be antagonistic. Let me tell you, this is not the case. But even if they are antagonistic, we will refer to that constitution and we will not say, no, that constitutional provision is wrong. We will move ahead with that constitutional provision. If we have given some special facilities to the people from minorities, we will move ahead with those facilities. We will not turn them down just because something appears to be written in preamble which is not in line with that provision. Right on. If there is a clash between article of constitution, if there is a clash between article of the constitution and preamble, then the former shall prevail. Now this is very good line. Next line. As per Supreme Court ने बोली ये बात. As per Supreme Court, if there is an ambiguity around an article, of the constitution, then that interpretation of the article may be used by courts which tallies that interpretation of the article may be used by the court which tallies or matches, T-A-L-L-Y, tally tha, tallies or matches with the preamble. Sir, ध्यान से क्यों क्या पढ़ो दोबारा. Please read this line again. Read the line again, please. Read. See, focus here now. For example, I take the privilege, खुद को Supreme Court मान लेता हूँ. I am, for example, Supreme Court. Okay. Article 15, you know very well Article 15 क्या है? I give you the gist. Article 15 means there shall not be any discrimination on the grounds of caste, religion, this, that, right? No discrimination is the word. ऐसे लिख देता हूँ. No discrimination on the grounds of this. Article 15(4) भी है. There is Article 15 clause 4. By through First Amendment Act, we brought this article. Now, it was not there in the original constitution. Through First Amendment Act means when the constitution was amended for the first time, we brought this article. 15(4) हमने add कर दिया. 15 clause 4 was added by First Amendment Act. Now this says, what is Article 15 clause 4? Yes. State can have special provisions for the welfare of socially and educationally backward communities, right? Means backward communities के लिए state can have special provisions. Reservation, for example. Now reservation is valid because there is Article 15 clause 5. Are they not appearing to be antagonistic? On one hand you say there shall not be discrimination on the ground of caste. On other hand you are giving special privileges to some people from some caste. Are they not antagonistic? How will you justify this? For example, if you are a judge and this case has come to you, sir, these two provisions of the constitution are contradictory. So tell us, should we go ahead with this or should we go ahead with this? What will you say? Yes, socialist nahi, we will, judge kya karega? Judge will open up the constitution and he will see the preamble. What is written in the preamble? Preamble says what? There shall be, देखो इसमें लिखा हुआ है, there shall be justice, social justice. आपके सामने preamble है ना? It has written the word justice, social, political, economic. So by Article 15 clause 4, we are actually trying to bring social justice. If I have been discriminated for ages, what if I get some facility right now? This is actually bringing me justice. Now Supreme Court can arrive at this conclusion because Supreme Court referred what? Preamble. Preamble specifically says that there should be social justice and which validates the reservation system. Means agar kal ko bhi, if there is an ambiguity between the two articles and two articles appear to be clashing in the constitution, then judge will refer to what? Preamble, and whatever interpretation matches with the preamble or which comes out of preamble will be accepted. This is the beauty of preamble. Okay, next. Why preamble is called the decorative part of the constitution? अगर ये क्वेश्चन आ गया, I mean let's not now proceed. I'll continue tomorrow. But ये last question है. Why it is called as a decorative part? 1 point. Exactly. Preamble is decorative part because it is not enforceable in the court. You cannot drag the state to court just by saying that it is written in the preamble. However, preamble has larger uses which